For the first of our two projects this week, you'll create a very simple web page that we'll expand on in future weeks. As we move forward in the class, I'll refer to this as your homework homepage. This will be a good reminder about how to create a web page from scratch, how to move a web page to the student server using Aptena, and how to find and view it through a web browser once it is moved to the student server. To get started, we're going to talk about what it means to build a web page from scratch. I do not know anyone in the business that literally starts a web page from scratch by opening a blank notepad or Aptena screen and start typing HTML, head, etc. Normally you'll start with some sort of template. This week I provide you with a very basic template to get you started. I'll use that template as a basis for our demonstration. Start by looking at the Aptena Studio Project Explorer window. That's the window that exists to the left of your Aptena screen. Since this is going to be your homework homepage and not included in any directory under our web server, we want to make sure that when you click on the name of your project, not a directory or folder. Go ahead and right mouse click. Select New, and then select File. Then we need to make sure we name the file. In this case, we're going to call the file index.html. Normally we could call the file anything we want. I could call it chris.html, I call it homework.html, but I'm going to call it index.html. Remember that index.html as a file name is a very special and unique file name, and it works differently than any other file name. Let's take a look at the difference. If I were to call my file christopher.html, I'd have to specifically ask for the file as part of the URL when I was trying to find it using a browser on the server. Something like mydomainname.com/christopher.html. But when you do not include a file name in the URL, maybe something like just mydomainname.com, the server then says no name was specified. So I'm going to look for a file called index.html file. In reality, a server could be programmed to look for other file names like index.htm, welcome.htm, default.htm, but the most universal default is index.html. If there's an index.html file in a directory, then the user does not need to include the file name in the URL. The server will automatically seek it out by default. Once you've created the file, let's go ahead and paste in the starter code that I had provided. Next, go ahead and make some edits so the file will be your own. Remember, you can do as much embellishment to this page as you'd like, but for now, it's just a basic page. All that really has to happen with this page is you have to be able to validate it through the HTML validator at the W3C. There's a link to that validator in case you need it in this week's assignment. Next, I ask you to run the file. And you know from previous videos that you can run the file in any of the web browsers that you have set up. I'm going to run this on Chrome to see what it looks like. Now I'm reminded I haven't saved the file since I've made some changes. It's asking if I want to save before I view the file, and I certainly do. Then it's going to pull up my browser and the page. Looks pretty good. Next thing we're going to want to do is go back to Aptena and actually upload the file. We're going to do that by right mouse clicking, selecting Publish, and then selecting Upload. You should see some kind of progress bar and then a dialog box telling you that the file has been uploaded. We're going to push OK. Now the file should be on the server. Go to the student server and look for the file. Keep in mind that you should be able to find it with or without the file name because it's an index.html file in your home directory. As long as you tell the browser and then transmit the request to the server by pushing enter or go, the server should be able to find it. As you can see on my screen right now, I'm finding this file without the individual file name. If I go ahead and add the individual file name to the end of the URL, it should still come up. I just pushed OK to load the file and it's there. Again, be sure before you complete this part of the assignment that you embellish the page any way you'd like. It's not real important that it be fancy. I just want you to have a page on the server that we'll use in future weeks to expand the work we're doing. And I want to make sure that it's valid HTML code by going out to WC3 validator. That's it for now. Now on to project number 2.